again, my little yarnivores and spiderettes. Fiber Spider back again with another tutorial just for you. Recently, I did a little poll vote kind of thing, and well, the hat tutorial won for this weekend. So here we are with the V-stitch hat. It's really simple. It's light, it's lacy, it's perfect for the spring or the fall. Just a nice little fun hat to do. Pretty darn quick, pretty darn simple, and couldn't wait to show you guys. So this particular hat, this was done using Lion Brand's Ferris wheel, and we're going to be using the same yarn, different colorway for today's example. And I used a size J 6mm hook, although you could of course use a different size. It doesn't make a tremendous amount of difference. Use what works best for you, by all means, but this is a pattern for an adult-sized hat, roughly speaking. So I would suggest, play around with different hook sizes, different yarn thicknesses, have some fun with that. Now, for today, I'm going to be using, like I said, a different colorway. This is also Ferris wheel, and this colorway is Vintage Carousel. And as far as the yardage, it's 270 yards, so you can totally do one of these hats, perhaps even two, with just one skein. And yeah, now the recommended hook size is a size H. I always like to go bigger. I like a nice, loose stitch. I don't like the stitches to be too tight. That's just me personally. At any rate, without further ado, let's get started. All right, first things first with round one. Now, of course, like with most of my tutorials that start with going in the round, you could do a magic circle or say chaining 4 and doing a slip stitch to the first chain. I have my own preferred method, which is after doing your slip knot and going to chain up 3, 1, 2, 3, and this chain 2 is not going to count as an actual stitch, but we are going to be doing our double crochets into that first chain, and we need 12 of them. So we have ourselves 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. All right, and then of course you can cinch this up and you can sew in the ends later. And we are going to be doing a slip stitch, but you know me, I like to double count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Doing a slip stitch into that first actual double crochet that we did, which is, again, skipping this chain 2 and then going into the top of that first double crochet and slip stitch. Now, the reason why I like doing that chain 2 is because it fills in the gaps, if you will. Makes it nice and seamless. So that is round 1. Round 2, just as simple, and round 3 is going to be just as simple as well. Going to start by chaining up 2, gives us a little bit of height, and then into that first stitch, right in there, 2 double crochets into that same stitch, and then all the way around, 2 double crochets into each stitch. So we went from 12 double crochets to a total, excuse me, to a total tiptoe through the tulips of 24 double crochets all the way around. So we're doubling all of our stitches. So I'm going to do the rest of those stitches off camera. And then once I reach the beginning, going to do a slip stitch into the top of this first double crochet. Again, ignore the chain 2. All right, I'll be right back and I'll show you what I mean. All right, so I'm almost done with round 2. I just need to do 2 more double crochets into this last stitch here. A little bit of a recap. There we go. And then, again, skipping this chain 2, doing a slip stitch into the top of that first double crochet. And there we go. We have a nice seamless connection. I love it. And that is the end of round 2. Row, round, potato, potato. All right, so we shall continue on with round 3. Round 3. All right, round 3, we are doing, well, exactly the same thing as we did in the last round. We're going to start by chaining up 2, and then into every stitch, we're going to do 2 double crochets. And it does pay to double count just to make sure you have the right number of stitches. We went from 12 to 24, and at the end of this round, we should have a total of 48 stitches. And I'm just going to go all the way around with 2 double crochets into each stitch. And then when I reach the beginning, do a slip stitch into the first double crochet that we created. Again, skipping over this chaining up of 2 and then going into the top of this first double with a slip stitch. All right, and that will be the end of round 3. All righty, round 4. All right, so now no more increases. We're just going to be doing the V-stitch pattern for rounds 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, or more if you so choose, give or take, it's something that I want you to, have fun with and experiment with. And besides, everybody has a different size head. That's understandable, right? So for the next 6 rounds, approximately, we're going to do this. So we're going to start by chaining up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then it's going to act as a double crochet and a chain 1 space. Then into the same stitch, double crochet. And that creates our first V. Then, without doing any chains, skip the next stitch, and then going to the next stitch with a double crochet, chain 1, and a double crochet into that same stitch. Like so. Skip a stitch, going into the next with a double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet into the same stitch. Easy as that. And so that is what we're going to do all the way around until we reach the beginning. Okay, just untangle my yarn a little bit. So just double crochet, chain 1, double crochet into the same stitch, but be sure to skip a stitch at the base. It needs some space to breathe. So skip 1, double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet into the same stitch. Skip 1, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet into the same stitch, and so on and so forth all the way around. Now, of course, depending upon the length of the hat that you want, you could do fewer rounds, more rounds if you want a slouchy, really whatever you like. I don't judge. But me, for my purposes, I thought that 6 rounds worked out just fine because we also are going to add a few rounds at the end to make the brim. So keep that in mind as far as the height or the length of your hat. Alrighty, so I'm going to do the rest of this round off camera, and I'll show you the slip stitch join. Alrighty. Alrighty, so I'm almost done with the round, and of course I wanted to show you the join. So again, skipping a stitch, going into the next one with a double, chain 1 double into the same stitch. And then I've got one more to go, and then I can do the join. Skip 1, double, chain 1, double. All right, and then from here, we are going to directly do a slip stitch into the 3rd chain from the bottom, or if it's easier to differentiate, we have our double crochet here and a chain here. Well, we're just going to slip stitch into that next chain over from the top. 2nd from the top or 3rd from the bottom. Either way, it works. Okay, so slip stitch right into there. Like so. And that is the end of round 4. So, to continue on our merry way for rounds 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, or more, whatever, what you do is from here, we need to get into this chain 1 space. So, slip stitch into the chain 1 space, then again, chain up 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and double crochet into the same chain 1 space, like so. So it's a V right on top of a V. Then skipping, this is not actually a chain space, so skipping these two, going into the next chain 1 space, okay, right into here, with a double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet into that same chain 1 space. We're only working into the chain 1 spaces. Alrighty, and then again, skipping these in betweens, going to the next chain 1 space right over here, going right in with a double, chain 1, double, skip over to the next chain 1 space with a double, chain 1, double, to the next one with a double, chain 1, double. It's really that easy, and I love it. I hope you guys do too, because it's so easy. It's a lot easier to go into chain spaces and then into actual stitches. So this project really flies, and I do like it very, very much. So then when you work all the way around, the last V-stitch that you're going to do is into this chain 1 space right here. And then from here, after doing your double crochet, chain 1, double crochet into this space, you would then again slip stitch to the top 3rd chain of this first double crochet, so to speak. Then slip stitch into the chain 1 space, chain 4, double crochet into the same space, and so on and so forth for a total of 6 rounds. So we already have 1. This is going to be our second one. Then after this one, you would need 4 more in approximation. and we can move on to the preparations for the brim. Alrighty, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to work my way around, show you again how to do the join, and then we'll go from there. Alrighty. All right, just to clarify, doing the recap, I'm almost at the end of the round. So again, I'm going to do a V-stitch into the V-stitch. That's my double, chain one, and double. And then, again, going to slip stitch into the third chain from the bottom. Now, I really would not recommend just doing a slip stitch into this space. No, we're going to fight the good fight, and we're going to do an actual slip stitch where it needs going. So do the slip stitch right in there, and then slip stitch into the chain one space. In this case, I want to do it right. So that being said, that is the end of the second round that we need for the V-stitches. Just keep going until you have a total of 6 V-stitch rounds. All right? And I will meet back up with you so we can start on the brim. All right, see you there. Alrighty, round 10. So at this point, you should have approximately 6 rounds of V-stitches. Now from here, we are going to start in on the brim. All right, so to do that, yes, pull out some more yarn. There we go. And to begin, we are going to start by chaining up 2 and into this chain 1 space, 3 double crochets. Now, at this point, if you want, I'm going to be using the same sized hook. However, if you want your brim to be a little bit more snug, what you could do is use a slightly smaller hook, a size, if this would focus, that would be great, a size H or a size I, if you want a more snug fit to the brim. That's fine. So I just need one more because this chaining up of 2 is not going to count. We need a total of 3 doubles into that first chain space. There we go. And then, without doing any chains in between, into the next chain 1 space, 3 more doubles. And then skip to the next chain 1 space, 3 doubles. And so on and so forth, all the way around, just 3 doubles into each chain 1 space. It's as easy as that. And this is going to set us up for doing the front and back post ribbing for the next couple of rounds. This is going to give sort of a foundation for the brim ribbing, if you will. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the rest of this round off camera. And when you go full circle, literally, and you do 3 double crochets into this chain 1 space, you then finish it up by slip stitching into the top of this first double crochet that we did. Again, skip over this chain 2. And that will be the end of round 10. All right. Alrighty, so we've got rounds 11 and 12 and more if you want your brim to be wider. So what all you have to do is, now the last round I did my slip stitch into that first double crochet that we did. Now from here, for the next 2 or more rounds, chain up 2 and then into this first double crochet, going around the post for a front post double crochet, And then into the next one, a back post double crochet. And this is going to create our 1x1 ribbing. So I'm doing a back post now, like so, and then a front post. So front post, back post, front post. And then we just did a front post, so the next needs to be a back post. So even though we've got clusters of 3, we are still maintaining the front, back, all the way around. So again, a front, and then a back, and a front, and back. Excuse me. And then a front, and a back, and so on and so forth, all the way around until you reach, yet again, the beginning of the round, where we are going to do a slip stitch into the top of that first double crochet where we did the front post. All right, so I'm going to work my way around and I'll meet back up with you and show you where to go from here. All righty. All right, so I'm almost done with the round. I just need to do this last 3 stitches here. So I need to do a back post, and then a front post, and then a back post, like so. And then, like I said, we need to do a slip stitch into the top of the first front post double crochet to finish up the round, like so. And then for every subsequent round, chain up 2, and then into every front post, do a front post stitch. Into every back post, do a back post stitch. And for me personally, I found that 2 rounds of the ribbing is sufficient. If you want to do more, do more. If 1 is sufficient, hey, that's cool too. You know, whatever works for you. But that is how you would go about doing the brim for this hat. And then when you're done with this round, you would finish it up in exactly the same way by after doing your front post, back post, front post, back post, and then, again, do not confuse this with a stitch. You know, this is just our chain 2s here. Do a slip stitch into the top of this first front post double crochet, and then you can snip your yarn, pull out the loop, and sew in your ends. And then you too will have a V-stitch hat. Love it. And of course, I hope that you guys like it too. And if you did, please give a little thumbs up button down below, show your support, because as always, I appreciate your appreciation. These are a lot of fun to make, and I hope you enjoy the process and you make one too. Yeah. And as far as yarns are concerned, a color changing yarn, of course, really lends itself to this kind of pattern. Although solids are good, ombres are great, and considering the time of year, I think a cotton would be awesome. You know, a cotton or a bamboo, I think would be really, really awesome as far as yarn to use for this project. So, you know, with that being said, I hope you liked it. And of course, I do try to post often, whether it's crocheting, knitting, or do check out my other YouTube channel, Fiber Spider Games, link in the description box down below. And yeah, so until next time, my dears, I want all of you to stay inspired, stay caffeinated, and above all, stay stitching and stay safe. I love you guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye for now.